is a presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Black Hawks. We are Southwest.
Texas Rangers pitcher Yu Darvish last victory came back on May 16th, but he continues to pitch well with a 2.28 ERA over his last 4 starts. The Major League strikeout leader also continues to burn up innings for Ron Washington's club, and he will be on the mound tonight against the Blue Jays. And welcome to a warm and breezy evening here at Rangers Ballpark in Arlington. A great Thursday night, a large crowd coming in tonight, the first of 4 games with the Rangers taking on the Toronto Blue Jays. And welcome in, everyone. Along with Tom Grieve, I'm Steve Busby. Glad you could join us on this Thursday night for Ranger baseball. And certainly the Rangers trying to turn things around a bit, and they have the right guy on the mound tonight, and that's Yu Darvish.
Yeah, and Yu Darvish continues to pitch very good baseball for the Rangers, although it hasn't been quite as noticeable his last 4 starts because he hasn't had a win in his last 4 starts. The biggest difference is the team hasn't scored as many runs for him as they were scoring prior to that. 3 of his last 4 starts have been very good. Against the Blue Jays, you're watching it right now. In his last start, he had pretty good stuff in that game. He got a no decision. Pitched very well in that ball game. That was the 18-inning game that the Rangers lost. On the season, of course, he's having an excellent season. Pitched well against the Blue Jays in the past, and Rangers look to him tonight to get them back on the winning track.
Get Yu Darvish back on the winning track, the ball club back on the winning track, and they have Elvis Andrus back in the leadoff position tonight. He'll be batting first and playing shortstop. Game 1 of this 4-game weekend series, the Rangers and the Blue Jays, coming up next on Fox Sports Southwest. Your Texas Ford dealers. Come join the red, white, and used celebration. Enjoy great savings on America's best-selling brand. Ford is the best in Texas. By AT&T UVerse TV. Check availability at 1-800-PIC-ATT. Rethink possible. And by Progressive. Visit Progressive.com today. Now, the Rangers taking the field here tonight, trying to turn things around. A 2-game losing streak hopefully will be a thing of the past after they get finished with the Blue Jays tonight. But before we get underway, let's head down to the field where Emily Jones is standing by him.
Well, Buzz, as you well know, not a whole lot going the Rangers' way these days. They dropped 3 straight series, and we all know that they have to weather such storms throughout the course of a 162-game season. Might be easier for the veterans to do it than the younger players on this roster. However, Lance Berkman says it is up to the vets to set the tone.
I remember as a young player, it doesn't matter if you're doing great or you're not doing great, you feel the same. I mean, it's like you're just trying to, you're trying to survive and you're trying to prove that you belong and trying to establish yourself. So it's really up to the veteran guys to kind of keep an even keel and just say, hey, let's keep going out there, let's play hard, let's hope it turns around.
And even though there are plenty of young guys on this roster right now because of all the injuries that this team has experienced, as Lance mentioned, still plenty of veteran guys to carry the load at this point in time, Buzz.
All right, Em, yeah, good points. It's time for the veterans to step up and take care of things. Yu Darvish will try to take care of things tonight. Here's the lineup that he will face for the Toronto Blue Jays. John Gibbons, the skipper, has Melky Cabrera leading off. He's the left fielder. Jose Bautista is in right. The first baseman tonight is Edwin Encarnacion. Adam Lynn is the DH. Bats cleanup. Colby Rasmussen, center field. Meister Isturiz is the third baseman. He hits sixth. J.P. Arancibia is the catcher. Emilio Bonifacio, the second baseman, hits eighth. And batting ninth, the shortstop, Munenori Kawasaki.
And our Budweiser scouting report on Yu Darvish. 13 starts, he's 7-2, hasn't won in his last 4 starts. ERA remains solid, 2.75. Leads Major League Baseball with 118 strikeouts. Last start was June 8th at Toronto. He pitched 7 innings, 6 hits, only gave up a couple of earned runs and 7 strikeouts. Got a no decision in that game. Earlier in the year, the Rangers were scoring somewhere around 9 runs a game. And if you gave up 3, he got a win. A little tougher now. The Rangers aren't scoring at that pace. And so he's got to step up his game and hold the Blue Jays.
Backing up Darvish tonight, Skaggs shows you the Ranger defense. Murphy, Martin, and Cruz left, center, and right. McGinnis at first, Brofard and Andrews up the middle, Beltre at third. Pierzynski is behind the plate, and he is handling Yu Darvish. Umpiring crew tonight, the crew chief, Jeff Kellogg, calling the balls and strikes. Eric Cooper at first, Paul Schreiber at second, and Chad Fairchild is at third. Now ready to get underway. The Blue Jays come into town at 28-36. And Darvish misses high with ball 1. Blue Jays, just as they were when the Rangers last saw them last weekend, 11.5 games out in 5th place in the American League East. Next pitch to Darvish, who's grounded out toward Elvis. And Andrews triggers the throw across. That is out number 1. Well, folks, in tonight's game, we are participating once again in the Home Run Challenge. Tonight, every home run in this game raises $12,000 for prostate cancer research. You can make a pledge by going online to homerunchallenge.org. Well, Cabrera grounds out. Now Jose Bautista. 97-degree evening here at Rangers Ballpark, and indeed summer has arrived a couple of days early. Pitch is a little bit low to Bautista. Bautista in the 2 games against the White Sox just completed for the Blue Jays had 3 home runs. He had a 2-home-run game on Tuesday night. So he is starting to swing the bat in a very hot fashion as he takes low, and it's 2-0. Jonas Martin in center field, just where a sliver of sunshine comes through. David Murphy is the one that really has it bad right now.
It's right in his eyes. He has to keep his glove in front of his eyes for the pitch. Martin is in the sun, but it won't affect him on a fly ball. The angle that he has doesn't look into the sun. David's, for the first inning, if he's anything like most players, he's saying, I hope the ball's not hit to me this inning. Wait till the second inning.
Yeah.
Either that or make it a high fly, not a line drive.
A lot of breaking balls here early from Darvish. He's fallen behind 3-1 to Jose Bautista. Bautista, as you saw, 15 home runs, 36 RBI. The 3-1 pitch. In the air to center field. Toward the gap. Making the call now is the right fielder, Nelly Cruz, and Cruz puts it away. He was shading Bautista toward that gap. And there's a shot from our center field camera, or lower center field camera. That gives you an idea when you're looking back toward home plate, at least in the westerly direction, what you might see out there if you were in the outfield. And those sunglasses help as far as the glare is concerned. But, boy, that ball gets right up in the sun, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, the problem on a line drive, if it's in the sun, is it stays right in the sun. High fly kind of will go in and out of the sun. But that soft line drive to left field goes in the sun and it stays right there. You see how low the sun is right on top of the stadium. It goes down pretty quick. Generally, it's the top of the inning. By the time the bottom of the inning rolls around, at least by the end of the bottom of the inning, the sun is usually not a problem.
If the Rangers come up and score a lot of runs in the first, then it'll make sure it's not a problem. 1-0 pitch, and Encarnacion takes it a little bit low. It's 2 balls, no strikes.
Well, Yu has thrown 9 pitches, 3 strikes and 6 balls, but he's got 2 outs.
The 2-0, and that's inside. 3 balls and no strikes. Second straight 3-ball count for Darvish. He was trying to figure out what he has going for him, and Darvish says it usually takes him an inning or 2 to get a feel for what his stuff is going to play like. 3-0 pitch, high and tight, almost hit him. No, Darvish, a 2-out walk, puts Encarnacion aboard, and now the dangerous Adam Lind coming up.
You know, Buzz, you and I were sitting up here doing our lineups at around, I guess it was maybe 4:15 or 4:20, and there's players out on the field doing various things before batting practice, and I don't know about you, but it was a little surprising to see Yu Darvish playing catch out in the outfield at 4:15 in the afternoon the day he's pitching.
Yu Darvish definitely has his own method of going about things, and you know, it's something that growing up in Japan and being raised with the Japanese way of training and doing things, entirely different in the baseball realm than anything that's done in the United States. There was a lot of dismay when I remember Daisuke Matsuzaka came over and said, well, he has to throw 300 pitches a day on the day he pitches. Otherwise, it's not a full day work. There's a fastball strike to Lind that evens the count. So he'd pitch in a game. If he got knocked out early, he'd go down and throw another 150 pitches. And that's just part of the culture, the baseball culture in Japan. And Darvish out here throwing breaking balls and stuff at, you just said 4:15 or 4:30 or so. Little chopper down the first base side. McGinnis has it. He will tag Lind, and that will take care of it. So the 2-out walk, no damage for Darvish and the Rangers. Blue Jays gone after a half inning. Toronto nothing. The Rangers coming up on Fox Sports Southwest. Lineup is delivered by First Financial Bank here this evening. Elvis Andrews leads off. David Murphy is in left field. The DH is Lance Berkman. Adrian Beltre is the cleanup man. A.J. Przynski is catching. Nelson Cruz bats sixth and plays right field. Chris McGinnis is at first. Jurickson Profar is the second baseman. And the center fielder, Leonis Martin, bats ninth. And Elvis back in that leadoff spot tonight. Ron Washington gave him a night off last night. And back at 100% this evening.
Scouting report for Esmil Rogers. We saw him in his last start, and he threw the ball great. He only pitched 4 innings. He's been a reliever, transitioning to the rotation on a little bit of a pitch count. He's pitched in 25 games, only a couple of starts. One of them was the start I talked about against the Rangers. In those 2 starts, he's pitched 7 in the 3rd innings, only given up 1 earned run. Threw 62 or 3 pitches in his first start, 73 pitches against the Rangers. And now he's kind of on a regular rotation right now. He should be good for somewhere over 80 pitches today, depending on how well he does and how the heat affects him. He's got a good arm. We saw him throw the ball really well in Toronto. 4 innings, struck out 6 Rangers.
Yeah, good hard fastball and a sharp biting slider. Esmil Rogers, and originally with the Colorado Rockies, and went over to Cleveland last year. And then the Blue Jays acquired him in the offseason. 1-1 pitch to Elvis. Fouled back. It's a ball and 2 strikes. Elvis 254 with the average. No home runs and 22 driven in.
Rogers has had 24 starts in his career, most of them with Colorado. Losing record and an ERA close to 6. But he's a little more mature now. He's got a little more experience. He's done well in relief, and the Blue Jays are going to give him an opportunity, it looks like, to see if he can't stick in their rotation. And if he can put it together with the stuff buzz that we saw in Toronto, he should have a pretty good chance to be a pretty good starting pitcher.
Yeah, and and considering the stuff we saw coming out of the Blue Jays bullpen up there, you can see why they have an excess of good live arms. Boy, it seemed like everybody they trotted out of that bullpen had a great arm. Chopper right back to Rogers. Very nonchalantly flags it down. Elvis is gone. That is out number 1. David Murphy coming up. And we'll take a look at the Toronto defense tonight. Cabrera in left. Rasmussen center. Bautista is right. Encarnacion the start at first. Bonifacio and Kawasaki up the middle. Mycera Sturis at third. JP Arancibia is behind the plate. So Elvis retired. Here's David Murphy. Murph scuffling a bit at the plate. 211 the average as he takes low for ball 1. Does have 8 home runs and has driven in 27. 1-0 pitch from Rogers. And that is a strike to the inside corner. Got an idea from the shot on that last pitch. That was a 4-seam fastball that kind of darted in a little bit to David Murphy. Rogers also will throw a 2-seam fastball, which moves the other way. 1-1 pitch. A little bit low. 2-1 the count. Rogers back to Murphy. And that is a strike on the outside corner. Rangers come in trailing the Oakland A's in the AL West by a game. Oakland currently locked up with the Yankees out in Oakland. An extra inning affair out there. Rangers trailing by a full game coming into play. Outside, and Murph has run the count full now. It's 3-2.
That looked like a better pitch than the one that was called a strike before. Let's see if it was. It actually was closer than the other one.
Rogers in the payoff pitch. Low ball 4, and Murphy draws the 1-out walk. He is aboard for Lance Berkman.
Well, Buzz, we say this all the time for David. David stands off the plate a little bit. And I don't think we've seen a player in the league that has more pitches on the outside corner and a lot of times slightly off the outside corner called strikes than David does. And all the pitchers try to throw him there. David swings at it when it's a strike, takes a lot of them that are borderline, and really, I don't think catches much of a break on those pitches.
No,
boy.
you're
If it's
right.
out there, they call it a strike.
Yeah, I think you're right, Tom. Here's Lance Berkman, who's batting .272 in the dirt, and Murphy thought about heading to second and saw that it had not bounded very far away from Arancibia and put the brakes on.
David wants to get a good jump. He does, but then he puts on the brakes when he sees that it's not that far away from Arancibia. Last year, David moved a little closer to the plate. I'm not sure if where he is right now, probably where he ended the season last year, and had some success when he moved a little closer to the plate.
Snap throw to first, and Murph just able to get back under the tag by Encarnacion. Pretty quick move over there by Rogers. 1-0 the count, another toss over there, and this time Murphy reads it a little more quickly. Berkman up there from the left side, the switch hitter with 5 home runs, 31 driven in. Esmail Rogers, a long look in, and now Berkman tired of waiting. The shift on for the Blue Jays as the shortstop Kawasaki just a shade onto the shortstop side of second base. And you can see the second baseman Bonifacio well over in the hole. Outside corner. And it's 1-1. Berkman questioning Jeff Kellogg a bit about that last call. Reminding Jeff Kellogg that he's not David Murphy.
Oh, well, but based on that call, he's David Murphy. That's the one we're talking about right there.
Now the 1-1. And that's a little bit low. It's 2-1. Rangers, as we mentioned, a 2-game losing streak. They have won only 4 of the last 10 ball games. They have dropped a couple straight here at home, which has been unusual. They're still 19-10 in their home ballpark. Toward the vacated shortstop hole, through to left field for a hit. Murphy put the brake on just as he rounded second. He had thought about going, but Cabrera got to the ball fairly quickly, so Murph staying there at second base, and Berkman with a shift beating base hit.
Well, with a shift, a defensive team plays the percentages, and sometimes they'll take a hit away. They hope that it's more often than not. And sometimes you'll give one up. There's a ground ball to shortstop, but the shortstop's right behind second base. That goes into left field for a base hit. Lance has crossed up the shift with a bunt a couple of times as well.
Yeah. So a walk, now a single, and here's the Ranger cleanup man, Adrian Beltre. See that 300 average, 14 home runs for Beltre. He takes low and inside for ball 1. Adrian 2 for 3 against Esmail Rogers. Here's a strike. That evens the count now, to ball and to strike. Beltre with 38 RBI. That is second on the ball club to Nelson Cruz, 43 runs driven in. Trying to pick up Murphy at second. Berkman at first. 2-1. It's 3 straight hitters now that Rogers has had a 2-1 count where he's gotten ahead, but they're not able to back up the pitch with another strike. See the Rangers 172 in the last 11 ball games. Apparently the sun angle changed so much that Melky Cabrera had to get his sunglasses.
If he needs them now, you know what's happening, Buzz? I think the sun is probably going between the roof and the stadium. That little slit of sunlight you can see there, and it's right in his eyes now. A few minutes ago it wasn't. It was blocked off by the roof. Safest thing is to take them with you just in case.
Now 2-2. Or you can do what Alex Johnson used to do. I remember that. Is back up a little bit, back up to the warning track where you're still in the shadows.
Just stay in the shade no matter where you are. You might be 100 feet away. You might be 380 feet away.
It's all right. In the
find
shade.
the shade.
At least you can see the ball. Now the 2-2 to Beltre. Chopper behind the bag at third. Isturis to third and across the diamond. And they got the double play.
That was close.
Encarnacion keeping a toenail on the bag, and that'll do it. So the Rangers grounded to a 5-3 double play. They strand one. We're going to the second. Scoreless in Arlington. Hello to Jim Knox. Jim.
I appreciate it, Buzz. Ranger fans looking for a Ranger win tonight. You bet. Community corner of the season. We're talking about the Texas Rangers Baseball Foundation. Once again, proud to support the Miracle League. Miracle League, of course, numerous Rangers alumni support a lot of Miracle League games each year. A Miracle League representative throughout the first pitch tonight. To find out more about the Miracle League, log on to TexasRangers.com/foundation. Buzz.
All right, Jim, thank you. Colby Rasmus starting things off for the Blue Jays here in the top of inning number 2. 1 ball, no strikes to count. Rasmus stepping in with 10 home runs, 30 RBI, hitting at .254. Been of a weak swing as he was fooled a bit on that Darvish offering. It's a ball and a strike.
Yeah, you had a relatively easy first inning. You walked the batter. He threw 14 pitches and only 5 of them were strikes. Made the best out of the 5 strikes. 3 of them were put in play for outs.
Pitch just a little bit low. It's 2-1 now to Rasmus. Rasmus used as a pinch hitter on Tuesday night. That was his last game action. Breaking ball, and that cuts the strike zone in half. It's 2-2. Rasmus and the Blue Jays split the 2 games in Chicago, and it was supposed to be a 3-game series, but last night's game rained out. So they flew on into the Metroplex relatively early and a chance to watch part of our game. 2-2 pitch. And the count is full to Rasmus. Colby leading off the top of the second inning. He'll be followed by the third baseman, Maicer Isturis.
Rasmus had the big hit against you in his no decision in Toronto. Hit a breaking ball for a triple and then came around and scored on a throwing error on the same play.
Payoff pitch. Got him swinging. Breaking ball down and in. And that is the first strikeout for Darvish. 1 away for Maicer Isturis. Well, we've got some very special folks up in the booth, and boy, we're glad to have you all with us. Gus Walker, young 14-year-old right here, threw out the first pitch, and he threw a strike. I mean, he fired one in there. And I told him, you better get ready for later on, just in case, we might go 18 innings again. You never know.
Not that easy to throw a strike out there, based on other first pitches we've seen thrown.
And you know where he was on top of the hill, too. He didn't move up. he was right there on top.
All right.
And his dad, Reed, and mom, Stacy, and nephew, Reed, also glad to have all of you. Really appreciate it. The Walkers made a very, very generous donation to the fund during the winter, Wounded Warrior Fund, and well, we sure appreciate your generosity. Fantastic. Just fantastic.
There you go.
Here's a replay.
All right, Buzz, you're the pitcher.
Right there. Look at that.
Whoa.
Look at that.
Derek Holland.
Holland gets a little animated about that. That's good. No. Next time, Jesse, you throw to Holland, I'm going to tell him to put a mask on because that's coming in there pretty quick. Hate for him to break his nose when the ball going right through his glove. 1-2 the count to Asturis. Just missed the outside corner. That evens the count. So, Gus, were you at all nervous about going out there?
Yeah, a little.
Were you?
Yeah.
Did you practice?
No, I did
No,
not.
you didn't warm up or anything?
I didn't know till the car right here.
Whoa.
Uh-oh.
That's pretty good then.
Kind of like a relief pitcher. You never know on your way to the ballpark if you're going to throw or not.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. Well, excellent job.
Thank you.
Excellent job. You don't have to go ice your arm down or anything, do you?
No.
After that? Okay. 3-2 the count. Meister Asturis waiting, and Yu Darvish back to the plate. Breaking ball, a high one, and that's fouled back. Watch Derek Holland again taking this pitch. Right there. That looks like something out of the Police Academy movies. Huh? Leslie Nielsen back there as the umpire. Again, the 3-2. Ground ball to third. Beltre gobbles it up. That is out number 2.
Well, I think that at bat to Asturis early in the game, 26 pitches into it, pretty good feeling that Darvish is not too happy with his fastball.
Yeah.
You know, you've got a guy that's really not much of an offensive threat. I think he threw him 4 or 5 straight breaking balls. I guess because he felt like that was the pitch he could throw for a strike the best right now.
Yeah, you would hope that's the reason.
Yeah.
Either that or he knows something about Asturis that we don't.
Maybe.
Here's J.P. Arancibia. The catcher takes high, and we have seen Darvish tonight throw a lot of pitches, Tom, and up in that area with the fastball. And it could be he just doesn't feel comfortable with it right
I'm
now.
not sure how many of the 12 strikes he's thrown have been with his fastball.
Arancibia hitting .214.
There you go.
Takes that 92-mile-an-hour heater right down the middle. Oop. Thank you. Now the 1-1. Checked his swing. The pitch a little bit high. It's 2-1. Well, the group up here, the Walkers and Gus right here, and Dad Reed and Stacy, and Reed right behind me. I'm blocking him out. The fastball strike, 2-2. But again, we'd like to thank you on behalf of the Rangers and the Wounded Warrior Fund. It's just tremendous that you all were that generous to help out that great fund. Chris McGinnis handles it, takes it to the bag. That'll do it. Oh, again, the Walkers, thanks very much for joining us. We appreciate it. 3 up, 3 down. We go to the bottom of the second. We are scoreless in Arlington on Fox Sports Southwest. first inning. Now, A.J. Pierzynski will lead things off for the Rangers in the second. The Pierzynski, Cruz, and McGinnis face Esmil Rogers. A.J. cooled off a little bit last night, but not much. He had a 6-game hitting streak snapped with an 0 for 4 last night. Still that average at .302 as he takes strike one. A.J. 4 out of 11 in the 3 games against Cleveland. 0-1 pitch from Rogers. Got him on the fist, and that's fouled back to the screen. It's 0-2. A.J., you remember spending a couple weeks on the disabled list, that oblique strain. Since he's come off the disabled list, hitting .358. And a looper up the middle. The second baseman Bonifacio gets rid of it in a hurry. And he gets Pierzynski by a step and a half. One gone for Nelson Cruz. Let's head down now to Emily Jones once again, Em.
Well, guys, we decided to have a little fun tonight with the AT&T Twitter poll question. We're asking for your help in naming my unborn child. Not really. We're just asking what name you think might be best. Not saying I'm going to take the winner and run with it and name my child that, but we thought we might just get some feedback from the Ranger fans, see what they think might be a good name for the baby girl that will be born hopefully sooner rather than later. We've got Catherine, Hattie, Elizabeth, or Lila. So to participate in the Twitter poll, you can use the hashtag FSCatherine, FS Hattie, FS Elizabeth, or FS Lila to cast your vote.
Emily, would it be safe to say that those are your 4 finalists that you're thinking about?
Absolutely.
One of those is the name.
I can tell you that for certain.
Okay.
The baby's father has a very large bit of input in this.
Okay.
Everyone will be happy to know, but we just thought we'd have a little fun before I head out on maternity leave.
Well, all the names are beautiful. You can't go wrong with any of them.
I love those answers, and you guys clearly know me well enough to say that very thing.
All right, and we'll keep everybody posted on how that turns out. Let you know later on in the ball game what the opinion poll states. And this is Emily's last game, which she will not be with us over the weekend, taking off on maternity leave. Real trooper, boy, it has been something to watch her work out here, as hard as anyone.
Yeah,
2-2.
Not to mention the fact it's 97 degrees
exactly.
down there.
Cruz, as you saw, the team leader, 15 home runs, 43 RBI, and 5 of his last 6 base hits have gone for extra bases. Rogers to the wind, the 2-2 is way outside, and the count is full. So Rogers, who issued a 1-out walk in the first inning, has gone full to Cruz with 1 out here in the second. Nelly to be followed by the first baseman, Chris McGinnis. Gloves and Ranger gear in evidence here tonight, as always. Payoff pitch to Cruz. Hit well to right field. Going back is Bautista. He is looking up. Goodbye. Nelly Cruz, the other way, continues to pummel the Toronto Blue Jays. The Rangers lead 1-0.
Well, Rogers got him early in the count to swing at strike 2, a slider a little bit out of the strike zone. Then Nelly took it a couple of times, ran the count in his favor again, got a fastball, and showed how strong he is by driving the ball to right field well out of the ballpark. Pitch away from him, and definitely Rogers was trying to keep the ball away from Nelly, and he paid the price with that fastball.
Well, Cruz with his 16th home run of the year. And here's Chris McGinnis. Bautista just ran out of real estate and didn't have a ticket for the lower home run porch. McGinnis up the middle. It is by the shortstop, Kawasaki, and into center field. And Chris McGinnis, who had his first major league hit over the weekend against the Blue Jays, scalds a single by the diving Kawasaki.
Yeah, Chris, I thought he got jammed a little bit more than it showed. Then when that ball hit, it just went right on by Kawasaki. You see more and more infielders sliding for balls like that. I don't remember that 20, 30 years ago. An infielder used to go after a ball to his left and reach down to try to catch it, but must be some advantage to it. We see a lot of guys do it that way now.
Here's Jurickson Profar. He takes a strike.
One advantage, I guess, is if you miss it, it's called a hit instead of an arrow.
Well, yeah.
That might be one
That
advantage.
could be. Could be. You see Profar's numbers. That's after a 3-for-5 game last night. His second 3-hit game at the major league level. McGinnis at first, and the pitch to Profar. A foul tip at home plate. It's 0-2 now. And the 3 hits we were talking about last night, and Profar had struggled in the series against the Blue Jays. They had really pounded him inside up there. Rogers not showing the inclination to do that right now, but Profar apparently coming back against the Tribe and making the proper adjustments. Able to have a good series. Went 5 for 9 against Cleveland. A little bit low. Count is a ball and 2 strikes. Profar checking with Gary Pettis, the Rangers' third base coach. Pettis flashing the signs out to both Chris McGinnis at first base and Jurickson Profar at the plate. Rogers set. The 1-2 pitch. Now 2-2. Profar exhibiting a good eye most of the time. Takes a lot of close pitches. And you would figure a young player like that wouldn't get the benefit of many calls, but he has shown a good enough eye where he's getting balls, called balls that are out of the strike zone. Just inside. And the count now has gone full, and that's one of those pitches right there.
It looked like it was a little bit inside. Catcher had to move his glove a little bit. Actually, it wasn't inside. One of those borderline pitches. Down, perfect part of the strike zone for the pitcher. That call went Jurickson's way. Borderline pitch.
Well, it's a full count. We'll see if McGinnis is going to move on the 3-2. He is on the move, and a little chopper that came up and hit Profar before he got out of the box, so it'll be a foul ball. And we will reset and do it again. Rangers with a 1-0 lead on the strength of Nelson Cruz, 1-out home run here in the second inning. Rangers now, by the way, have 84 home runs as a team. They came in trailing Baltimore by 5 home runs in the American League. Again, the payoff pitch. Swung on a line to right field. Bautista to his left makes the catch. McGinnis just kept on running. He's going to be double off at first base. So the double play, 9-3. And McGinnis forgot how many outs there were. He just kept right on motoring. So Nelly Cruz, though, gets the Rangers on the board. His 16th home run of the year will go to the third. It's the Rangers 1, the Blue Jays 0 on Fox Sports Southwest. Derby mobile game from MLB.com. It's available on iPhone and iPad, and you can download it for free today. Now, Nelly Cruz, his 16th home run, the difference in the ball game right now. Rangers with a 1-0 lead as Yu Darvish heads back out to the hill. And he will be facing Emilio Bonifacio in the first pitch inside for ball 1. Bonifacio hitting a number 8 slot, 206 the average. Switch hitting second baseman up there from the left side, and a couple of home runs, 11 driven in.
Well, Buzz, this is one of those games where it's probably fortunate for you that they're not swinging and missing a lot. There's only been 1 strikeout, but he's still thrown more balls than strikes, has a decent pitch count. With more swings and misses, might have a much higher pitch count.
Pitch inside, and it's 2-1. Bonifacio took an 0 for 3 against Darvish in that ball game at Rogers Center. Now, Brzezinski asked for time. He wasn't quite sure of what Darvish agreed to, so we'll try it again. Right-hander ready. 2-1 pitch. Cut and the miss. It's 2-2.
If you're a hitter and you think you've got him narrowed down to a fastball, you're usually out of luck.
Yeah. Yeah. He doesn't believe in the fastball count.
No, you might get one, but you can't count on it.
You're probably just as likely to get something else.
Yeah, maybe more. Yeah, in a fastball count,
yeah,
you might be more likely to get something else.
Up the middle, that's going to be into center field, a base hit. So Bonifacio starts the 3rd inning off. Single to center, first hit of the day off of Yu Darvish. Munenori Kawasaki coming up. Right now, let's go to John Radigan with a Mazda game break. John? Thank you, John. Better them than us. We've been there recently. A 1 on and nobody out here. Here's Kawasaki, and he takes one outside for ball 1.
Yeah, generally in a 17-inning game, during the extra innings, the innings don't go 1, 2, 3 routine all the time. There's usually, as you look back, both teams have 2 or 3 chances where they have man on third base, less than 2 outs. Someone's thrown out on the bases, to where they can look back if you lose and say, man, we had several chances to win that game. And that was certainly the case in the 18-inning game that the Rangers had. Bases loaded, no outs, first and second, nobody out.
Now, both teams had a lot of opportunities.
Lance, I think it was Lance who was thrown out at the plate by Bautista from right field. So, yeah, we had a lot of chances to win that game. But so did they.
Yeah.
And eventually, someone's got to win it.
Kawasaki back in there after the failed hit and run attempt. 1-1 the count. There goes Bonifacio again. The throw to second, and safe at second is Bonifacio. Throw just enough on the shortstop side of the bag that Elvis couldn't get that tag down quite quickly enough. And Paul Schreiber, the umpire, right on top of things, and Ron Washington going to go out there and question Schreiber.
You're right. If the ball's on the right side of second base, then the tag is slapped down and he is probably out. But the throw is on the shortstop side of second base, which takes a little bit longer to make the tag. And from this angle, it looks like Bonifacio gets his hand in there. It's a close play, but he got his hand in there.
Sure did.
Good call by the second base umpire, Paul Schreiber.
And I think the Rangers are seeing more and more teams now exploit the running game against the Rangers. A.J. Brzezinski has had some pretty well documented throwing problems early in the season. And that word doesn't take long to get around. Check swing, the pitch in the dirt, and Brzezinski able to block that, keep it out in front of home plate. And the count moves to 3 balls and a strike. But Kawasaki, the number 9 hitter, trying to get aboard also. He'll be followed by the top of the order, Melky Cabrera.
We've got Bonifacio's hitting 206. Kawasaki's hitting 215. These are guys that, with Darvish's stuff, want to get these guys out. You certainly don't want to walk Kawasaki.
And he just did that. Oh, walk and 2 aboard now with nobody out. Melky Cabrera coming up. Mike Maddox with an eye on things. And let's take a look at the Ford leaderboard. Show you the league leaders in opponent's batting average, the lowest opponent's batting average. Max Scherzer at 182. Yu Darvish at 185 coming into play. Hisashi Iwakuma at 190. Travis Wood at 191. And Chris Sale 192. A 2 on, nobody out. Cabrera grounded to short. And now time called as Darvish was ready to go and Cabrera was not. Rangers expecting a bunt from Cabrera. They have Beltre playing up and playing caddy corner at first base. Or third base, I should say. Chris McGinnis up at first base. Around a bunt and foul. Back to the screen by Cabrera. It's 0-1. Well,
the way the Blue Jays lineup is constructed, they have 4 good hitters. The first 4 hitters in the lineup, Cabrera, Bautista, Encarnacion, and Lind. After that, Rasmus is hitting 250. Everybody else is below 220. So it's the first 4 guys in the lineup that are going to cause you the biggest problems.
Cabrera with 2 sacrifice bunts this year. That is second most on the team. Bonifacio has 3. Darvish a check of the runners. No bunt here, and the pitch way outside. It is 1 ball and 1 strike.
Yeah, I think you can make a case early in the game that if you've got one of your 4 best hitters at the plate, you might not want to give up and out.
Right.
You might want him to swing the bat.
Cabrera checking down with third base coach Luis Rivera. There you see the lowest averages in the American League with runners in scoring position. Toronto at 243, the 3rd lowest mark.
I don't remember this year seeing Darvish struggle like he is so far in this game.
No, not with the fastball.
He's already thrown 44 pitches, and only 20 of them have been strikes.
No bunt, and a pulled base hit to right field. Charging is Cruz. Around third is Bonifacio. The throw is low and not nearly in time. In to score is Bonifacio, and the Blue Jays have come back to tie it at 1 apiece as Melky Cabrera grounds a single to the vacated right side of the Ranger infield.
He gets a hanging curveball. Pretty much the same thing Bonifacio got. Got a hanging slider that he hit up the middle for a base hit. Bonifacio runs well, and Nelly didn't have much of a chance to throw him out, but he kept the ball down so the other runners couldn't move around. So paying the price for allowing Bonifacio a base hit, walking Kawasaki, which is the last thing you want to do. And now there's still 2 men on and nobody out. Got the middle of the lineup coming up now.
And Darvish now will face Bautista, who flied to right field his first time to the plate.
Wasn't disappointed when Cabrera turned around to bunt. Pretty much taken out there.
Yeah.
Took the bunt off and he got a base hit.
Chopper up the middle to second, and the relay to first is in time by Elvis Andrus. So a 6-3 double play. On to third goes Kawasaki, but there are now 2 big outs as Bautista, first ball swinging, and he had one that was tailor-made to Elvis right at the bag.
Well, no matter how much you're struggling, in many cases all you are is 1 good pitch away from having something good happen to get you out of the inning with minimizing the damage. And if Darvish can get Encarnacion right here, he will have minimized the damage. Cabrera got that hit based on the command that he had. It wasn't looking very good, but 1 good pitch, 2 outs, just like that.
Now the most important one here to get the final out of the inning without any damage done. Edwin Encarnacion, the hitter. First pitch, a wave and a miss on the breaking ball. It is 0-1. Encarnacion drew a walk back in the first inning. Darvish checking Kawasaki at third. Fouled out a play to the right, And the count moves to 0-2. Encarnacion, that 266 average. He has really been swinging the bat a lot better than average would tell you right about now. Go back over the last 25 ball games, he's been a .330 hitter. The 0-2. A ball and 2 strikes. There are your RBI leaders with Encarnacion, 3rd in the American League. Miguel Cabrera, almost 70 RBI already. Chris Davis having a whale of a year. He is second, distant second at 54. A ball and 2 strikes to Encarnacion. Darvish set. This is outside. It's 2-2.
Tell he's going for it right there with a man on third base. He threw a little sharper slider on the pitch before it, threw it a little harder, and at 95 miles an hour trying to hit the outside corner with his fastball right there.
Now the 2-2 pitch. Got him swinging. Good hard breaking ball that time, and the second strikeout for Yu Darvish. But the Blue Jays tie it up. A run on 2 hits. They strand 1. 2.5 in the books. 1-1 the score. Texas Ford dealer. Come join the red, white, and used celebration. Enjoy great savings at America's best-selling brand. Ford is the best in Texas. And by Jack in the Box. Now's your chance to go big at Jack in the Box. Try Jack's Big Stack Burger. 2 jumbo beef patties stacked with onion rings, cheese, and pickles. Well, a brand new ball game tied up at 1 as we head to the bottom of the 3rd inning. Time called. Jeff Kellogg, the home plate umpire, getting out from behind in quick fashion. Said no, time was called. Leonis Martin starting things off. 1 ball and no strikes. Martin, a .261 hitter. Takes a strike from Esmiel Rogers to even the count at 1-1. Leonis with his 3rd home run of the year last night. Went into the Ranger bullpen in right center field. 10 RBI. Going to bunt his way, or try to bunt his way aboard, but he bunts it right to Encarnacion. Fields it, makes the tag. That's out number 1.
I was going to start pecking away at some of the birthdays we've got. First of all, we have a birthday with Loretta Belcher. Not sure how old Loretta is today, but I am sure that she is the mother of Kevin Belcher, former Ranger player. Kevin and a lot of members of his family are out at the ballpark with his mom, Loretta, so happy birthday, Loretta. Tommy Hennessy from Argyle is 90 years old today. Will Dean Rowland from Richardson is 93 years old today. Happy birthday, Tommy and Will Dean. We'll get to some others as we go along.
Elvis Andrews hit a chopper right back to Rogers in the first inning. Takes a pitch just on the outside corner. Or strike one. Elvis at 253. Off-speed pitch, and that's in the zone about knee-high away. It's 0-2.
Got a birthday wish for Mary Cobbs. She's 84 years old today, and she's from a town in Texas that I'm not familiar with, Buzz. It's Phalba, Texas. Phalba, Texas.
I'm right there with you. I haven't heard of that either.
I'm glad you're watching tonight, Mary. Belated birthday wishes to Henry Pennards. He's 91 years old. He's from Windthorst. We have some friends from Windthorst, the Schreibers, watch all our games, come to a lot of our games, bring us a lot of treats.
Jam shot, ground ball to Asturis. And Elvis is out, 2 away, and David Murphy coming up.
Edith Godwin from Farmers Branch is 86 years old. George Harry from Mountain Home, Arkansas will be 90 years old tomorrow. He's not going to be watching tomorrow, but George, I hope you're watching today. Happy birthday tomorrow. June Van Velsor, converted St. Louis Cardinal fan, by the way, 83 years old today. Happy birthday, June. I got one more for later on in the game.
Okay.
Just because she's not going to be watching yet.
Murphy takes like a changeup from Rogers in for a strike. It's 1-1. Murph drew a walk back in the first inning. 2 gone here in the third. A 1-1 game. And Murphy a 2-hopper out to short. Kawasaki across the diamond. So 3 ground balls, 3 outs. The Rangers are gone in a hurry. And after 3 from Rangers ballpark, 1-1 the score. Rangers and Blue Jays. I'd like for you to join us at On the Border for dinner every Tuesday night, now through August the 13th, and enter to win free Rangers tickets, plus a VIP Rangers experience. Visit otbfanzone.com for more details. Adam Lind will start things off here in the Blue Jay fourth, a 1-1 game. Toronto with 2 hits, the Rangers with 3. Neither club has committed an error yet. Adam Lind, a ground ball to first, his only trip up there. And he takes high for ball 1. Lind at 341 for the season, as you can see, with 6 home runs. To center field in a hurry comes Leonis Martin. Put it in cruise control, made the catch for out number 1. Let's go over to Jim Knox. Jim?
All right, Buzz, we are in the Batter's Eye Club. This is in center field, directly in center field. And I tell you what, this Father's Day, this is the place to be for just $100. This will get you in the Batter's Club. Air conditioned, buffet, all the popcorn you can eat. Look at this. It's like a trash can. To find out more, great Father's Day gift, log on to TexasRangers.com/Batter's Eye. Buzz?
All right, Jim. That's a pretty good idea. I think we ought to go out there between innings. Tom, you know,
well, if you can get us like a golf cart or something.
Treat each other to Father's Day popcorn.
Sounds good.
Colby Rasmus, a strikeout in his only at bat tonight. Darvish, a long look into Pierzynski, and now the right-hander's ready. Here's that looping curveball. That first time we've seen that tonight. 64-mile-an-hour bender that stayed high.
You still hasn't evened out the strikes and the balls yet. 27 strikes, 28 balls.
Very un-Darvish-like. There's a call strike to the outside corner. Looks like a cutter that came in the back door.
Well, when he struggles early, this is right about the time where he seems to put it together.
Right.
So look for him to find whatever he's looking for and start putting up some strikes on the board.
1-2 pitch to Rasmus. Count is even. And some days you just never figure it out. It's just a struggle, and this is where the opinion of Darvish, in that he's a very good competitor, that's where this comes into play. Struggling on a night like this, gets a strikeout of Rasmus. Second time he has punched out the Blue Jay center fielder. That's out number 2, and it brings up Mycer Asturias. The Coors Light cold hard fact for the evening: 4.37 strikeout to walk ratio, the 3rd best single season ratio in team history. Only Fergie Jenkins and John Burkett had better. Fergie back in 74, that's no surprise, and Burkett in 97. That's pretty good company in Ranger lore. Slow curveball, and that comes into Asturias.
Darvish has struck out Rasmus twice on good breaking balls. The one pitch that hurt him in Toronto was a hanging breaking ball that Rasmus hit for the triple.
Buried that fastball in the dirt. 1 ball, 1 strike. AJ flashing the signs out. Darvish finally settles on one. And the 1-1 pitch. Loop foul off to the left and back into the seats. It's a ball and 2 strikes. AJ's going to have to take off his glove and start giving signs with both hands. 1-2 pitch. 2-2. Yeah, for Darvish, this is unusual for Darvish in that here we are in the 4th inning. He's up over 60 pitches and still hasn't found out how to command his fastball. Either the 4-seamer, the cutter, or the 2-seamer. He hasn't found one he can go to yet, and normally he has by this time figured something out. The 2-2. Hammer toward right. That's going to be in and go to the wall. Cruz playing over in right center has a long way to go. He will hold Asturias at second, but that's a ringing double off the bat of Mycer Asturias.
They got a fastball located right in the middle of the plate that time. Asturias hit a rope. Yeah, maybe that's what you was looking for at 4 o'clock this afternoon out in right field.
Could have been.
Still hasn't found it.
Either that or he left it out there.
Well, that's a possibility too.
Here's Aaron Sebia, who grounded out to first. as he closed out the second inning tonight. Takes the breaking ball that just veers off the outside corner. It's 1 ball and no strikes. Aaron Sebia hitting at .213. A dozen home runs, 30 driven in. He has really been mired in a slump of late, and we're talking about the entire month of May and into June now. Aaron Sebia, in his last 10 games, is 3 for 42, which is about .070. Darvish back to the plate, fires a strike. It's 2-1. Now the inning by inning breakdown of the pitches for you, Darvish. I mean, nothing jumps out at you. It has. That would tell you that it's been okay. What we're seeing is that it really has been anything but okay for you, Darvish. I mean, he has just struggled and struggled, and yet he's only given up 3 hits and 1 run.
The big pitch was the little ground ball that Bautista hit for a double play with nobody out. So that helped the pitch count. That helped him get out of that third inning with only giving up 1 run.
2-2. Got him swinging. Good sequence there. Well located fastball and a very sharp breaking ball. 2 strikeouts in the inning, no runs, a hit, 1 left. After 3.5, the Rangers won, the Blue Jays won on Fox Sports Southwest. Fox Sports Southwest for Chevy Hometown Kids. It's not about the score, it's about the experience. Now the Rangers come to bat now in the bottom of the 4th inning. Nice crowd on hand here tonight and watching the first of 4 games between the Rangers and the Blue Jays. Last time these 2 teams will match up this year. Lance Berkman to start things off. Berkman singled to the shortstop spot on into left field, and this time up, Blue Jays have gone to a more normal alignment. That meaning 2 players on the left side of the infield, 2 players on the right side, and kind of giving Berkman the middle of the diamond. Pitch outside to him. It's 2 balls, no strikes. So I think if you're Lance, you could probably well look that Rogers is probably going to pitch you away most of the time, considering they changed to this alignment. 2-0 offering. Hit well to left field. Going back is Cabrera. He's at the track. He reaches up and makes the catch as he pounds into the screen on the out-of-town scoreboard. That ball really carried off the bat of Berkman, who drove it the other way. And he put Cabrera all the way back right into the out-of-town scoreboard.
They pitched him away. He drove it away. And Cabrera's going to hit his foot on the wall some way. Comes up limping a little bit. Nice play.
The 1 out. Adrian Beltre takes outside for ball 1. Adrian rounded into a double play in the first inning. That ended the Ranger first. 1-0 pitch. That's a base hit to center field. Boy, Adrian get that pitch up and out over the plate. Said thank you very much. 4th Ranger hit of the night. Beltre aboard with 1 out for A.J. Pierzynski.
The Rangers have only had 1 run on Cruz's home run against Rogers. Hasn't struck anybody out tonight. Back in Toronto, he struck out 6 in 4 innings.
It looked like in the first inning that he was going to have great stuff. I mean, popping the fastball and good hard slider. We haven't seen that as the game has gone on. Pierzynski shoots one out of play down the left side. It twists its way back about halfway in the lower bowl. 0-1.
He might be finding it a little bit different to pitch when it's 97 as opposed to 67.
In the roof, with the roof over your head.
Yeah. And, you know, the other side of it is that was the first time most Ranger hitters had seen him.
Right.
You know, they got a little bit to draw on now, and that was just 5 or 6 days ago. 2 starts in a row against the same team. Might benefit the hitters a little bit.
And Pierzynski drives one to left. Backpedaling this time is Cabrera. Makes the grab. Beltre back to first. And with 2 outs now, Nelson Cruz coming up in our Jimmy John's freaky fast delivery of the game. That home run for Nelly Cruz is 16th of the year. And that got out of here in freaky fast fashion. Delivered to the lower home run porch and straightaway right field for Nelson Cruz. So up there with Beltre at first, not being held on particularly close by Encarnacion. Nelly at 262, and he takes the breaking ball wide. It's 1-0. Casimir Rogers didn't like the baseball, and he just threw it out of play.
That's your right as a pitcher.
Toss it. Well,
isn't it?
Umpires used to get upset if you did that. They wanted you to throw it to them, and they would throw it out.
Let them check it first.
I think it had something to do with the union deal. You know, that was their deal. 1-1, the count to Cruz. Rogers sets a check of Beltre. And that's off the inside corner. 2-1. The Blue Jays really trying to set that inside precedent to Nelly Cruz and then go with the breaking ball. And so far, Nelly hasn't offered it anything in there. There's another pitch inside. It's 3-1. That's aggravating for a pitcher, and even a pitching coach. You say, okay, we're going to have to pitch this guy inside, and he won't swing at the pitch that's just off the plate. Say, holy cow, he's not going to swing at that. What are we going to do?
Well, throw him out over the plate like he did the last time and see if he can drive another one out to right field.
That's what I mean about aggravating. 3-1 pitch to Cruz. He just did get the outside corner with that slider.
Did he or didn't he? Let's see. Almost got it.
So with 2 outs now, Beltre will be moving with the next offering. Cruz trying to extend the inning. You have Chris McGinnis in that on-deck circle. The stretch, the payoff pitch. Pulled foul outside third. That time Nelly had to protect the plate on the inside pitch. He was able to jerk it foul, so we'll try it again. Nelly asking Jeff Kellogg if that was a strike, just to get an idea of what the strike zone looks like. Everybody set. Again, Beltre on the move. Payoff pitch is popped up. Around the mound, a quartet of Blue Jays coming on. And it's the first baseman, Encarnacion, to make the call and the catch. So that'll do it. The Rangers do get a hit, but Strand won. We have finished 4. It's the Rangers 1, the Blue Jays 1 on Fox Sports Southwest. your chance to join the Rangers when they go to St. Louis. That's June 21st through the 23rd. The trip includes first-class hotel accommodations, game tickets, a VIP ballpark tour, and a chance to meet a Rangers player. Get details for the upcoming St. Louis trip at TexasRangers.com/destinations. To the 5th inning we go. It will be the Blue Jays coming to bat with Emilio Bonifacio starting things off. Kawasaki and Cabrera to follow, and Bonifacio takes high and away. 1 ball, no strikes. Bonifacio started the 3rd inning by singling to center field. He eventually came around to score on Milky Cabrera's RBI hit. Joe's bunt there pulls the bat back, and it's 2 balls and no strikes. And joining us for the 5th inning, as always on Fox Sports Southwest, Mark McLemore, the co-host of Rangers Live, before and after the ball games. Mac, it seems like it's kind of a rut right now. The Ranger offense is stuck in, but they're also getting very good pitching tonight from Yu Darvish.
They are, and that's that's the bright spot. Just getting that pitching. That's where it all starts. The offense is going to eventually come around. Just as long as they continue getting that good, solid pitching, the offense is going to eventually wake up. Hopefully tonight.
Yeah, it would be nice. Well, watching Yu Darvish, Tom and I have been sitting here marveling that, he's 72 pitches, 36 balls, 36 strikes. That's it. And for him, that's very unusual. But he still held the Blue Jays to just 1 run.
That's very unusual, Darvish. And it's amazing that they don't have more than 1 run.
Yeah, he's giving them opportunities.
Well, the one thing he doesn't want to do this inning is let the 2 guys at the bottom of the order get on to start an inning. He's fortunate to get out of the last inning. He had 2 best hitters up there with men on first and second and nobody out, and 1 run already in. That's what, he really had to do some pitching to Bautista and Encarnacion.
Payoff pitch, got him swinging. Breaking ball down and in. Strikeout number 5 as Bonifacio whiffs to start things off.
It's probably his predominant strikeout pitch right there. Down and in to a left-hand hitter, especially when he anticipates that it might be time for a fastball, in which case you're pretty much guaranteed to swing and miss.
Well, 1 away, that's back-to-back strikeouts now. Darvish struck out Aaron Sebia to end the 4th, and now Bonifacio to start the 5th. Here's Munenori Kawasaki, the shortstop. Ball 1, low and away.
But it's got to be a great feeling to go from start to start and have a different strikeout pitch.
Yeah. Well, when you have 7 or 8 or whatever it is, you could probably have 2 or 3 different ones if you want to pick it the way he does. Yeah, he has so many weapons that it's almost ridiculous. I thought last year when we were going to see him in spring training for the first time, you got to be kidding me. I mean, that's got to be the gyro ball thing, and it just repackaged same stuff. Beltre stepping a dive to his left. Nice play by Adrian. 2 outs.
Oh, a good try by Kawasaki. He's got Adrian way in at third base. And he made a good shot at it. Hit the ball pretty hard, and unfortunately for him, he's got Adrian there.
People don't realize how hard this is, what Beltre is doing, being that far in at third base with a major league hitter up there.
It looked easy. You
That's crazy.
You don't have a whole lot of time, do you?
None. That's crazy.
He couldn't have been more than, 70, 75 feet from home plate.
That's crazy.
So 2 gone. Here is Melky Cabrera, who is 1 for 2. Give you that play again, real speed, and you can see what, boom, bomb. Yeah, there you go.
I mean, if you're going to be in that close, when you see a third baseman in that close, that's when you know a guy's bunting, and then you start creeping in. That's the only time. Not when the guy he's swinging. That's crazy.
0-1 pitch, off speed, and just a little bit high with that hook.
I think that one broke down a little sharper than Jeff Kellogg thought it was going to break down. Right here, it looks like it's way out of the strike zone. It's borderline. That's one that could go either way.
It's called fooling the umpire, too.
That's exactly right. I'm going to say Tom had mentioned that before. Sometimes you strike out the umpire along with the hitter.
Well, he's like the hitter. He doesn't have to swing at it, but he doesn't know what kind of pitch is coming either.
2-1 now the count to Cabrera.
And I think that gets overlooked too. You know, hitters haven't seen that pitch. Well, neither have the umpires.
Right.
Interesting to talk to some of the umpires and see what they think about umpiring behind home plate when Darvish is on the mound. Is it any different?
I know I've heard umpires say with knuckleball, like Charlie Huff on the mound, said they hated that.
Yeah, that'd be tough.
You know, because you had to wait till the very last second, and
Yeah.
the chances of missing pitches were greatly increased. Not to mention the balls that went by the catcher without even drawing leather. Chopper foul. Never forget the one game that Charlie pitched, and I think it was Mike Stanley was catching it. And it looked like a human pinball machine. The thing hit him about 6 different places on every pitch. You know, and most of the time it didn't catch his glove first. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Darvish nods yes and comes set. Foul back.
Well, it's always there, the 95-mile-an-hour fastball. He unveils it rather in a stingy fashion, but when he wants it, it's there. He usually uses it with 2 strikes for a strikeout pitch.
Personally, I'd kind of like to see him feature that a little more often earlier in the count. Maybe get to a 2-strike with it. Again, the 2-2 coming to Cabrera. Broke out 97 that time.
And Cabrera was definitely looking for an off-speed pitch.
Yep.
Yeah, he's lucky to foul that one off. Most guys wouldn't have been able to touch that ball.
AJ flashing the signs out. Have no idea what the 2 wicket is. It's that one. High and away, and the count now has gone full. I can tell you what's coming now is a slider. 3-2.
Location?
Almost automatic.
Down and in.
There you go.
He throws it.
Almost automatic. Payoff pitch on the way.
There it is.
Just make this game look so easy, don't you?
Well, if we're wrong, no one cares. If he's wrong, he's going to punch out and everybody's going to know it.
Blue Jays gone 1-1 on the bottom of the 5th. This coming Tuesday at the Fort Worth location on Hewlin Bend Road. Don't miss this chance to win great prizes and to meet one of your Texas Rangers at Whataburger. Rangers to bat in the bottom of the 5th inning, the bottom third of the order. Chris McGinnis, Jurickson, Profar, Leonis, Martin. 1-1 the score. Rogers gets a 3-hopper out to Bonifacio. On to first, that is out number 1. Profar coming up. And it's time for a Mazda game break. Here's John Radigan.
Second baseman, Jurickson.
All right, John, thank you. Well, Rangers now a game and a half behind Oakland. They have to win here tonight to stay within a game of the top spot. Profar lined into a double play. Lined to right field, and McGinnis was running on the play. Forgot how many outs there were. They doubled him off. Shows bunt. Jurickson takes a strike to even the count at 1-1. Profar backing out, now back into the batter's box. Rogers into the wind. And misses low and in. 2 balls and a strike. Profar, as we mentioned, got the start last night at shortstop. Just his second start at his natural position, if you will, this year. Rip and a miss. It's 2-2. Back tonight, though, at second base as Elvis Andrus is back at shortstop. And in case you're wondering about Ian Kinsler and you missed it last night, Ian tonight at AA Frisco is DHing. And the plan is for him to DH tonight, then play in the field both tomorrow and Saturday. The fly ball, shallow right field. Long run in for Bautista. And the right fielder makes the grab for out number 2. Ian will play Friday and Saturday in the field. Then the evaluation will be made after the game Saturday as to what the next course of action is. Hopefully, from what Ian is hoping for, is that he'll be back with the Rangers on Sunday, which would be great news. Some of those guys back. Mitch Moreland able to increase his baseball activity schedule, and he looks to be in line for the activation date, which is the 21st, first day in St. Louis. So slowly but surely, the guy is coming back into the fold off of injuries. Still no change though in the pitching prognosis for anybody.
Well, I think that's going to help the offense for sure. You know, I think even without the pitching being there, the offense held its own without the pitching being there, because the young pitchers that came up, Tepish and Grimm, they pitched pretty well, and the offense was there. The offense was scoring runs. So I think that's going to be fine once Moreland and Kins get back.
Chopper to first, Encarnacion handles it, and that'll do it for the Rangers. 3 up, 3 down. Matt, thanks for joining us. We will see you after the ball game tonight on Rangers Live.
All right.
1-1 to the 6th. Jim?
I appreciate it, Buzz. Look who we have here. It's Karen Norris of the Texas Rangers here to talk about the Texas Rangers Baseball Foundation baseball and softball grant programs. Karen, what's this all about?
That's right. Once again, the Texas Rangers Foundation will provide financial grants to youth baseball and softball organizations across our 5-state territory. So if there's an organization out there that needs resources for fields or lights or that kind of thing, our grants help those organizations continue to play baseball. The deadline's up fast approaching. It's June 30th. The information's available at texasrangers.com/foundation.
There we go. So texasrangers.com/foundation for those interested.
Absolutely.
Go ahead and log on. All right, Karen, good seeing you. Appreciate it, Buzz.
All right, Noxie, thank you. 1-1 the count to Jose Bautista, starting off the Blue Jays 6th inning. A 1-1 ball game. Darvish, steady diet of breaking balls to Bautista. He's fallen behind now, 2-1. Bautista, fly ball to right field, and then a very big double play grounder with 2 on and nobody out in the 3rd inning. Breaking ball backs him off and catches the inside corner. 2-2. Darvish nods in agreement, the right-hander, with that letter high set. Breaking ball, and that was just low. And the count has gone full. So Bautista trying to get on to start things off. And they're looking at that last pitch. That's pretty doggone good pitch right there.
Yep.
Now the payoff delivery. Breaking ball, call, strike 3. 6 straight breaking balls.
I know exactly how Jose felt on that one. I'd walk back thinking the same thing. It's just impossible for a hitter to think along with Darvish. You know, Buzz, if you likened a pitcher to an artist, when you pitched, I know pretty much what the canvas was, how it was going to be colored, what it was going to look like. When Roger Clemens pitched, I knew pretty much what it was going to look like. When Darvish pitches, you don't know whether that canvas, what color it's going to be, what the design is going to be. You just don't have any idea. You just have to sit back and watch and see what it is.
You don't even know what shape the canvas is.
No, you don't know anything.
What color it is.
You know, it's unique. You don't see it very often.
No, you're right.
That guys like that. Usually, the hitter has a pretty good idea what he's going to do. I mean, the pitcher might change and attack you in a different way if you've hit him pretty well on pitches away. He might pitch you in. Yeah, it might change and throw you a few more breaking balls and fastballs, but with Darvish, it's just entirely up to him what that's going to look like.
Skied to right center field, carrying pretty well, but Leonis Martin has room. Back there in front of the warning track, and makes the grab. That is out number 2. Encarnacion gone. Adam Lind coming up. Folks, it's the last chance to buy full or half season ticket plans, and it's coming up on June 17th. That will be your last chance to get those. Season tickets come with a comprehensive benefit package, and they are only one way to guarantee postseason seats. Speak to a Rangers representative about full and half-season plans by calling 972 Rangers extension 3. So 2 outs. Here's Lind, who is grounded out and lined to center field. He takes a breaking ball for strike 1.
One thing that is certain in the game tonight is right around the time when we were talking about this is usually when it kicks in for him when he finds it. He did.
Yep.
And he's retired 6 straight, 4 of them on strikeouts.
You're exactly right. It's kind of like clockwork.
Yeah, there's more strikes. The fastball's a little crisper. The breaking ball's a little crisper. He looks like he's got a little bit more energy. He's walking around a little quicker. It's almost like it kicked in, and you can see it in his body language.
And you got the ball girl down the line making a diving play.
They can play.
Yeah.
Our ball girls are the best in baseball.
And you've got them fired up. 0-2. Joe Adam Lind. Whoops. Bounced that fastball in there. Darvish on the mound. You got to make all the plays. He's counting on you. Nice play. Knocked it down and got up to throw it out. Perfect. That's an all-out play right there. Now the 1-2 coming. Couldn't stop his swing. That is strikeout number 8. And Darvish now has retired 7 straight. 5 on strikeouts. We have finished 5.5. The Rangers 1, Blue Jays 1 on Fox Sports Southwest. Brought to you by Sonic. Tonight's jackpot is worth $900 and dinner for 2 at Sonic Drive-In. Tonight, the Rangers are hitting for Tom Athens from Fort Worth. And if a Ranger hits a grand slam during the inning, Tom Athens from Fort Worth will win $25,000. You can register at any participating Sonic restaurant. Now, the top of the order, see if they can't get to Mr. Rogers here in this 6th inning. Mr. Rogers' neighborhood. Elvis Andrus taking the first pitch for a strike and another breaking ball. It's 0-2 very quickly. Elvis, kind of a pained expression. Backs out and he is down on the count very quickly. Only 7 hits total in the ball game. 4 of them for the Rangers, 3 of them for the Blue Jays. Only Ranger run came on Nelson Cruz's home run in the 2nd inning. Out of play to the right. It remains no balls and 2 strikes.
And Buzz, I mentioned we had one more birthday tonight. Sue Swindle, 90 years old, from Abilene, Texas. I think she already had a celebration earlier in the evening. Sue, we hope you're back watching the game right now. It's a good one. And happy 90th birthday.
Got him swinging. Rogers, that good sinking fastball down and in. And that is the first strikeout tonight for Yasmeel Rogers.
Buzz, you have to like this. The bucket list for the lady in the middle. 90th birthday,
that's great.
Ranger game, bull riding, NASCAR, bungee jump, mud wrestling, cowboy cheerleader, and the last one.
Leave that to your imagination?
Yeah.
Okay.
Whoever's watching, just leave it to your imagination. We're not sure what that means. Got an idea what it means, but
I like that. That
was our best sign of the night.
Got the tattoo crossed off. Got that. Took care of that. Got the Ranger game. That's all under control. 0-1 to Murph. Right behind the bag is Encarnacion. He will take it to first. And Murphy out. 2 gone for Lance Berkman. Well, Yasmeel Rogers now has retired the last 7 Rangers he has faced. Rangers have had just 1 base hit since the 2nd inning.
Yeah, prior to this, he'd had 2 starts. One was 3 1/3 against the Braves. The other one was 4 innings against the Rangers. 60-plus pitches, right around 70 pitches. He's at 78 pitches. No one warming up in the bullpen. 6 innings. A little different kind of game for him tonight. Only 1 strikeout. He had 6 in 4 innings in his last start. But he's looking like a pitcher tonight, mixing in some pretty good breaking balls. Good fastball.
Berkman a check swing, and the appeal to Chad Fairchild said no swing. It's 1 ball and no strikes. Berkman drove the ball to the wall in left field last time, and Cabrera made a nice play for the out. 1-1 the count, and again the defense for the Toronto Blue Jays pretty much straight away. Second baseman Bonifacio shading toward the hole, but other than that, everybody in their standard positions. Changeup hits the outside corner. Lance didn't think so, but it's still a ball and 2 strikes. In the area.
Yeah, barely. It's in the neighborhood, but it's not in the yard.
1-2 pitch. To left field. Cabrera in and toward the line. There to make the grab. And the Rangers again quietly gone, this time in the 6th inning. On to inning number 7. Rangers 1, Blue Jays 1. Fox Sports Southwest. The only run. Well, the Rangers, Nelly Cruz's 16th home run of the year. That came back in the 2nd inning. The Blue Jays tied in the next half inning. Yu Darvish has been good tonight. 6 innings with 8 strikeouts, 2 walks, and just the 1 run in the 3rd. That was when the Blue Jays put together 2 of their 3 hits against Darvish. So Ron Washington watches his number 1 pitcher take the hill for the top of the 7th inning. Rasmus Isturis and Aaron Sebia, the first 3 Blue Jays to face Darvish. Yu has retired 7 straight and the 11 of the last 12.
Yeah, 7 straight and 5 of those on strikeouts. 5 of his 8 strikeouts. Earlier in the year, the Rangers were scoring around 9 runs a game for Yu. And as long as he kept the other team under 4 runs, he had a great chance to win. But in his last 5 starts now, Rangers have had a hard time scoring for him. He's had several games just like this, low-scoring games. And several no decisions in games just like this. Hopefully he can get through the 7th inning. He's at 101 pitches right now. The Rangers can score for him in the bottom of the 7th.
Rasmus has struck out both times that he has faced Darvish tonight. And the right-hander misses outside. Tried to get the breaking ball to come in the back door. Couldn't do it. It's 3-0. Rasmus leading things off, to be followed by Meiser Isturis. Darvish with a 3-0 pitch. At the green line, and Rasmus will ground out to Chris McGinnis. Underhands to Darvish. That is out number 1, and it brings up Isturis with the bases empty. Our Coors Light freeze cam tonight. Show you some pretty good defense. So what else is new for Adrian Beltre? Ball slapped sharply the other way, and how about that for reaction?
Yeah, I like Mac's reaction when he was up there, just marveling at how he could play so close to the hitter and still have the reaction time to catch a hard hit ball.
Yeah.
It looks simple. Mac made the point that it was anything but simple to react that quickly to a hard hit ball when you're that close to the hitter.
Right. Adrian is something special. Isturis is 1 for 2. Takes the first pitch outside for ball 1. Doubled last time up with 2 outs. Rifled one into the right field corner. It's also grounded to third. And another pitch hanging outside. 2 balls and no strikes.
Darvish on the night has finally gotten his strikes to be more than the balls, but it's close. It's 55 strikes and 50 balls. An unusually bad ratio for a game like this. 2 walks, 8 strikeouts, and only a handful of hits and 1 run.
And he misses high. It is 3-0 to Isturis. Get an idea of the inning. 7 pitches in this inning, only 1 strike. That was an out on a 3-0 pitch. There is a strike. 3-1.
You know, he hasn't had a 20-pitch inning, but he hasn't had many low-pitch innings either. They've all been between 15 and 19.
Darvish back to the plate. Rip and a miss by Isturis. And that fills the count. Darvish trying to come back. Isturis, the number 6 hitter, to be followed by the catcher, J.P. Arancibia. Payoff pitch. Breaking ball. Call strike 3.
Most of those breaking balls are down and in. That one looked like it came back and caught the outside part of the plate. Isturis ahead in the count 3-0. Ends up taking strike 3 and right near the outside corner. Good pitcher's pitch. You can see why a hitter might be upset with it, but I've seen that pitch called strike a couple of times tonight. That side of the strike zone, maybe a liberal side of the strike zone tonight for both teams, all the players.
9 strikeouts for Darvish. And 2 outs, bases empty. There's the K in the Kia K zone out there. Arancibia goes after the first pitch. It's a towering fly ball to left. Murphy into the corner. Boy, this thing way up there. Now Murphy has to
just missed that thing.
And make the grab. So that'll do it. Blue Jays down in order. It's stretch time at Rangers Ballpark in Arlington. The Rangers won, the Blue Jays won on Fox Sports Southwest. the all-new Mazda 6. When you change everything, you change everything. Esmil Rogers back for his 7th inning of work, and the 27-year-old right-hander from the Dominican Republic has been outstanding tonight. He and Yu Darvish matching each other 0 for 0. 1 run for each ball club. Here's Adrian Beltre to start off the Rangers 7th. Beltre a single and a double play grounder. Hammers the first pitch foul on the left side and well back into the seats. Now this is the kind of game, Tom, that's going to come down, I think, one mistake that gets hit out of the ballpark.
Well, it looked like that Aaron Sibia might have been the one to do it. He had the swing, he had the pitch, and he had some hang time on that fly ball, but fortunately he just missed it. And the Rangers got a couple of guys in the lineup who are perfectly capable of doing that. But I agree, Buzz. It doesn't look like a rally is going to happen. It might be just one swing of the bat.
Now both these teams very home run oriented. Blue Jays with 80 home runs as a team. The Rangers 84. Hard hit ground ball. That's vacuumed up by Asturias. That is out number 1. A.J. Pierzynski coming up. Time for a Mazda game break. Once again, here's John Radigan.
After A.J. Pierzynski.
All right, John, thank you. A 1-1 game here. A.J. Pierzynski standing in. 0 for 2 tonight. A.J. is grounded to second and fly to left field. And he will ground out to Encarnacion at first. He underhands to Rogers. Very quickly, 2 outs here in the 7th inning for Nelson Cruz. Well, folks, for the first time ever, Dr. Pepper is bringing you great savings all the way through the month of June. Enter Dr. Pepper as a coupon code at TexasRangers.com, or you can bring any Dr. Pepper can to Rangers Ballpark in Arlington for $5 off select tickets for any non-premier game in the month of June. Two gone. Here is Nelly Cruz, who had that opposite field home run back in the 2nd inning. He takes a knee-high strike. Well, folks, we talked about Emily Jones. We talked to her several times during the ball game, and this is the last game that she's going to be with us for a while. She is going to take time off to have their 2nd child, she and her husband Mike. We certainly, as a group, want to say thank you, Emily, for everything that you have done and you do. You're such an important part of our team. It's very nice to know that you're in great hands. You'll have a very healthy baby, and I'm sure everything will go well, but we're still going to miss you while you're gone.
Thank you very much, you guys. I'll miss you tremendously as well. Hopefully everything will go well, and we'll have a new little girl to talk about sometime next week. So
be sure to send us some pictures.
I'll post it, of course. I'll inundate you both with pictures.
Good. Some pictures we can put on the air, too, so we can, all the viewers, they want to know everything that's going on, too.
We'll concentrate on the baby, for sure.
All right.
Sure.
Yeah, and we're about to find out from our AT&T Twitter poll what the name of your
I'm not making
coming
any
daughter.
promises
Oh,
that the winner of this Twitter poll will.
Well, maybe.
Like I said, my husband does have a small say in what the name of our child
Well,
will be.
if he's watching tonight, too, maybe he'll get it by osmosis. Just kind of soak in there and get it all out. Okay. Well, we'll just have to take a chance then. We will influence the two of you somehow. 2-2, the count to Cruz. Rogers, a long look in and too long for Nelly's patience. Backs out. Now back in, ready to work. Right-hander back to the plate. Up the middle. Into center field, a base hit. Nelson Cruz with his 2nd hit of the night. A 2-out single. Puts him aboard. And Chris McGinnis now will come to the plate.
Rogers had retired 10 straight. Pitching some nice baseball tonight. 1 walk, 1 strikeout. Rangers have only had 5 hits. Blue Jays have only had 3 hits.
I think it's about time for McGinnis' first home run. He got his first extra base hit, first RBI against the Blue Jays there in Rogers Center. It's about time for him to hit one into the home run porch. Chris tonight 1 for 2. Single back in the second inning. Nelly Cruz a modest lead at first. And a breaking ball. That's a little bit low for ball 1. Aaron Loop, the left-hander, is apparently ready should he be summoned from the Toronto bullpen. When that Toronto pen, and we'll talk about it as we get into it, but they've got some arms down there. One ball, no strikes. About a 0.90 earned run average in the last 10 ball games, and opposition hitting $162. Hard hit, line drive right at Kawasaki. Held high. Out, and McGinnis and the Rangers are gone. We're going to the 8th inning. It remains the Rangers 1, the Blue Jays 1.
For the results of the Twitter poll where I've solicited the fans' help in helping decide the name of my unborn child. I can't promise that I'm going to take any of these suggestions seriously. Like I said, I must consult with a few other parties before deciding on the name. But it looks like the winner is Lila. Is that right? Yep. Mm-hmm. With 43% of the vote. Patty gets 32% of the vote. So I'll fill you guys in as soon as the final decision is made. In the meantime, I'm just going to have to keep you in suspense. Like I said, the baby's father might need to have a little bit of say in what goes on from here on out.
Can you give us a little timeline? When can we expect to know about it? Is it going to be after the birth, or are you guys going to have kind of a coming out party for the name here beforehand?
No, it won't be beforehand. I'll have to let you know afterward.
All right.
You know, what if we've thought of a name and then we take a look at her and she doesn't? Or what if the doctors are wrong and it's really not a girl?
That'd be a problem.
It's actually a boy.
Yeah. Elizabeth,
you could have a boy named Sue.
There are a lot of things that could happen over the course of the next 4 or 5 days. I don't want to run any risks at this point, guys.
No, that's fair.
But I do appreciate everyone's feedback and input.
Okay, you will have media calls as soon as there's a delivery notice, so you might as well have your phone blocked in the hospital.
I'll keep you guys posted. Thanks for being sweet.
Chopper to Beltran, and the backhand he goes. The throw is wide, and safely aboard is Emilio Bonifacio. Adrian just slinging that sidearm and had it sail on him. Bonifacio aboard here to start off the 8th inning.
Yeah, you can count on one hand the number of times that's going to happen to Adrian. I think Adrian thought that ball was foul. It's not. Let's see. It looks like he looks back at the umpire.
Yep, he did.
Sees the umpire call it fair. Like maybe it might have surprised him. And then the throw is offline. Something you don't expect when Adrian has time to make a throw.
Well, that is an error on Beltre, and a rare one indeed. Now here's Kawasaki showing bunt and takes the first pitch low from Neil Kotz. Here are the numbers for the Ranger left-hander. His 12th outing, 0.75 earned run average, and opponents just a 171 batting average. Bonifacio with pretty good speed at first as Kotz checks him. The bunt is down, back to the mound. Kotz will have one play. That's to Profar covering. That is out number one. Into scoring position now is Bonifacio. And the top of the order, Melky Cabrera coming up. And let's go over and say hello again to Jim Knox. Jim?
All right, Buzz, real quick time for the progressive fan of the game. It has to be Darcy and Jason. This happy couple got married this afternoon and said, hey, you know what? It wouldn't be complete unless we cap it off with a Ranger game. It was Darcy's idea. She's a huge Ranger fan. Here's the bag, Darcy. Congratulations. So this was okay with Jason?
Oh, you bet.
Oh, man, I'm excited. Okay.
I guess it was okay with Jason.
It was very much okay with Jason.
All right, well, congratulations.
Thank you.
All right. Congratulations. There you go.
Knoxy, you left him speechless. Ripping a foul ball by Melky Cabrera. It's 0-1. Well, Knoxy has that effect on people sometimes.
Yes, he does.
Cabrera turning around to bat from the right side against the left-hander Neil Kotz. Cabrera has driven in the only Blue Jay run tonight. That was a single back in the third inning. Bonifacio carrying the go-ahead run out at second base. One out here in the top of the eighth inning. Kotz a long look to second. And the pitch to Cabrera is inside. It is 1-1. Cabrera hitting just 200 against left-handed pitching this year. That's as opposed to 311 against right-handed pitchers. Rip and a miss. It's a ball and two strikes.
Oh, Cabrera saw the slider down and in, batting left-handed from Hugh Darvish. Seeing the same thing batting right-handed from Neil Kotz.
He can't get away from it.
Not any more fun this way.
Kotz okays the sign. The left-hander's set. Couple of looks at second. And the 1-2 pitch. Just missed the outside corner.
Yeah, that pitch is more apt to be called a strike on the other side of the plate tonight than it is on that side of the plate. That could have been a strike.
Now the 2-2. We'll try it again. Cabrera, one of the guys brought in the offseason to try and really shore up this Toronto ball club and make it what they had hoped to be a force in the American League East. And it has not started off that way in Toronto. And they're in last place, 11.5 out. Again, the 2-2 pitch. Ground ball to the right side. Profar on to first. That is out number two, and on to third goes Bonifacio. He's there with two away, and Jose Bautista is coming up, and Rod Washington is walking out to the mound. Well, you would think with Bautista and Encarnacion, the right-handers due up. And Tanner Shepard's ready in the bullpen. That Rod Washington, once the hard-throwing right-hander takes the ball from Neil Kotz. Kotz departs for the runner on base, his responsibility. Shepard's coming on. We'll tell you about him when we come back right after this in a 1-1 ball game. tie here in the top of the 8th inning.
Well, pretty good numbers for Tanner. I like that 4-0 record. I'd like to keep him undefeated and maybe sneak a 5 in there at the front of it. ERA under 1.
First pitch to Bautista is blown outside for ball 1. Bautista, a strikeout his last time up. 0 for 3 tonight against Yu Darvish. Bonifacio, the runner at third, down the line a couple of steps. And a chopper is pulled foul. That evens the count. And a ball and a strike. Bautista facing Sheppers. Bonifacio on in the throwing error by Adrian Beltre. There's another chopper at the plate. Boy, Tanner Sheppers working that fastball, that two-seam fastball in on right-handers, has turned that into a devastating pitch.
He has. You might just show him a devastating hook right here. Let's see.
The 1-2. He did in the dirt. Tried to make that a little too good.
Yeah. He went for the strikeout, just yanked it into the ground.
No, Sheppers back up on top of the hill. 2 balls, 2 strikes with 2 outs. And a crowd of 32,013 gathering their support and putting it right behind Tanner Sheppers. Popped up. Foul territory. That's going to be over the Blue Jays dugout and back about 7 rows. We will come back and try it again. A.J. Przinsky saying a few words to some folks on the Blue Jay bench. A.J.'s never without a little something to say to somebody. Don Gibbons, the manager of the Blue Jays, in his second tour of duty north of the border. Again, the 2-2 pitch coming. Line to left field is hooking and going foul.
Well, he put a pretty good swing on that pitch. That was 96 miles an hour with good movement on it. And he almost kept that ball fair.
Would you say he's pretty quick inside?
Yeah, he's very quick inside. That pitch would eat up most hitters, and he hit that ball hard down the line. And amazingly, almost kept it fair.
Breaking ball is just a little bit wide. So the count has gone full. If Bautista reaches, Edwin Encarnacion is waiting in the on-deck circle. Bonifacio at third, 2 outs. Top of the 8th inning in a 1-1 ball game. Sheppers sets. The payoff pitch. Breaking ball, low and outside, ball 4.
Didn't miss by much.
As Encarnacion comes up, let's find out more of what's coming up on the Esurance Rangers Live post-game show. Here's John Radigan.
Yeah, Buzz, after the game, it is Rangers Live, presented by Esurance, and it will be an exciting program because there will be an exciting conclusion to this one to talk about. We'll have lots of post-game reaction from the clubhouse. Emily Jones in her final game before having a baby, and Mark McLemore will join me for post-game analysis. It's all coming up after the game. Rangers Live, presented by Esurance.
All right, John, thank you. Well, runners at first and third, 2 outs. Sheppers facing Encarnacion. Line drive toward the gap in left center. Long run for it. Martin, he can't get it. It's by him and all the way to the wall. 1 run is home. Here comes Bautista. He scores. A 2-run double by Encarnacion. And the Blue Jays take a 3-1 lead. And Leonis looked like he jammed his left arm, his left wrist, moving that around like it's really giving him a problem.
There's another great swing. You got 2 good hitters, Bautista and Encarnacion, and they put good swings on it. Ball is up, but on the inside part of the plate. And just like Bautista, Encarnacion gets the good part of the bat on it. Put a good swing on that pitch. We're going to have to go out and check on Martin now. Seems to still be in a lot of pain. gave it everything he had trying to make a circus catch out there. And you can see him come down hard on his shoulder.
Jamie Reed and Ron Washington going out there to tend to Leonis Martin. See how hard he landed on that left arm, the left forearm and wrist. Looked like the wrist kind of rolled over. Martin missed quite a bit of time last year at AAA with a thumb injury. And he doesn't really want to come out. He just said, hey, I just bent it back. And Ron said, nope, that's it. So Craig Gentry will come off the bench. You get another look at Martin going after that. That wrist really flopping over there and took the brunt of the fall. So Craig Gentry will take over in center field for Leonis Martin. And the Blue Jays have taken a 3-1 lead here in the 8th inning. 2-run double by Encarnacion. All this started with Beltre's throwing error that allowed Bonifacio to get aboard. 2 outs later and 1 walk later, Edwin Encarnacion plugged that left center field gap, and he has put the Toronto Blue Jays in the driver's seat here at 3-1. Well, AT&T tells you we'll be right back here tomorrow night. TXA 21 at 7 o'clock, game 2 of this series. It'll be Justin Grimm and Mark Burley, the principals in that ball game.
I think something's bothering Sheppers now. They're going out to check on him. He was trying to throw a few pitches to AJ before the next hitter hit, and Przinsky went out and called out Jamie Reed, the trainer.
And Tanner trying to state his case to Jamie Reed and Ron Washington. Mike Maddox out there all with a very watchful and nurturing eye to Tanner Sheppers, make sure he's okay. And apparently Tanner convinced him that he was. So still 2 outs. Encarnacion now at second base. And Adam Lind, who is 0 for 3 tonight, is the hitter. Lind is struck out, grounded out, and lined out. 337 the average as Sheppers comes back to him and fires a strike right down the middle. Sheppers ready. Back to the plate he comes. Out of play to the left. Well, no balls and 2 strikes. Breaking ball got him swinging. Good hard biter. One hitter too late, though, as the Blue Jays come up with 2 runs on 1 hit and an error. 3-1 Toronto. Darvish, a capsule of the right-hander's work this evening. 9 strikeouts. Almost all of them on breaking balls this evening.
Everyone, all 9. Assortment of sliders, curveballs. Many of them out of the strike zone. Most of them swung and missed at. Wide assortment of off-speed pitches for those 9 strikeouts. Another solid start. And you just didn't get the offensive support to get a win tonight, but 7 innings, 3 hits, and 1 run. You'll take that every time. Hard throwing Steve Delabar tunes it up in the mid-90s, having a good season.
And the first hitter he is facing is Erickson Profar. There's Rajai Davis. Takes over in left field. Defensive change. Melky Cabrera out of the lineup. Profar 0 for 2 tonight. He's lined into a double play and fly to right field. Outside. 1 ball and 1 strike. Well, Esmil Rogers, 7 excellent innings here tonight. Just his 3rd start, and no comparison tonight to the other ones. The fastball inside. It's 2-1. He only struck out 1. He walked 1. And only allowed 5 hits in those 7 innings, with a single run put up on Nelly Cruz's home run. Now Steve Delabar with a 2-1 pitch. It's 2-2. Jurickson showing a little frustration after looked like he probably felt he should have done a little more with that last pitch from Delabar rather than foul it back. Two balls, 2 strikes. Call strike 3. Down and in, and that's what the Blue Jays did so effectively to Profar in that series north of the border.
No doubt that's a strike. That's all the way in the strike zone. That's not one you want to argue. It's a borderline pitch. You can have a couple words to say with the umpire, but don't get in the habit of arguing a pitch like that.
Yep.
It's all the way in the strike zone.
The 1 gone. Here's Craig Gentry hitting at 227. Gentry came in for the injured Leonis Martin last half inning. Craig, a home run, 9 RBI. This is 48th game of the 2013 season. That pitch all the way to the backstop. And the count evens at 1-1. Gentry 1 for 6 on this homestand. All 3 of those games against the Cleveland Indians. Delabar back to the plate. 2-1. Craig may not have had a lot of hits lately, but he's done a good job of getting on base any way he can. The walk, and he has scored some important runs going back to the Boston series in the last road trip. Got 3 walks in his appearances there. Kyle McClellan, bearded right-hander, up and throwing in the Ranger bullpen. 2 balls, 2 strikes. And Delabar's next pitch. We'll come back and try it again after the foul ball.
There's our lady with the bucket list.
Yep. Got him swinging. Fastball up and in at 96. It's back-to-back strikeouts. 2 outs from Ranger 8. And Elvis Andrus coming up. Elvis tonight 0 for 3. Grounded out a couple times and struck out. Elvis 3 for 5 against Delabar. Delabar, of course, used to in the Mariners bullpen, and Elvis will up that a bit as he pounds one into right center field. A 2-out single. And that will bring the tying run to the board here in the 8th inning in the person of David Murphy.
David's a good fastball hitter. He's definitely going to see some fastballs in this at bat. Belt high 95-mile-an-hour fastball that Elvis turned around to right center field. Not too late for a 2-out rally.
Something the Rangers have been very proficient at this year. Outside, the off-speed delivery to Murphy. David 0 for 2 with a walk. Grounded out twice. Walk came back in the first inning. Murphy 2 for 4 against Delabar. That kind of fits in with what you're talking about, Tom. A good fastball hitter.
Yep.
Against the fastball pitcher. And the count goes to 2-0. Got the word on the initial diagnosis for Leonys Martin. I'll tell you in a second. 2-0 pitch. A rip and a miss. Diagnosed as a mild strain of the left wrist, and he's listed at day-to-day. Probably know a lot more tomorrow. See how he comes in, how he's feeling. Leonys at least rolling over on that wrist on the dive on Encarnacion's double. Murphy pops one foul. That will reach the seats down the left field side. And the count is even now at 2-2. Delabar making sure he stays away from David Murphy. Right-hander is set one more time. Got him swinging. Foul tipped into the glove of Aaron Sebia. And Delabar strikes out the side around a 2-out single by Andrews. We're going to the ninth. Blue Jays leading 3-1. Celebration. Enjoy great savings on America's best-selling brand. Ford is the best in Texas. By AT&T UVerse TV. Check availability at 1-800-PIC-ATT. Rethink possible. And by Progressive. Visit Progressive.com today. Right-hander Kyle McClelland on now to work the ninth inning. Colby Rasmus leading things off, and McClelland fires a strike. It is 0-1.
Third game for Kyle. Just recently called up from Round Rock.
Right-hander back to the plate. Ahead 0-2 now as Rasmus fouls back that pitch. The Blue Jays leading 3-1 despite being out hit 6-4 by the Rangers. Neil Kotz right now, the pitcher that's on the hook. There's a rip and a miss. McClellan, good breaking ball. And Rasmus strikes out. The third time that Rasmus has punched out tonight.
That's a big breaking curveball. Rasmus definitely a fastball hitter. He had a fastball to hit against Yu Darvish, 3-0, leading off the 7th inning, but he grounded out to first base. Other than that, he's seen a lot of breaking balls tonight. Coming up empty on that breaking ball.
Weiser Asturas takes the first pitch from McClellan, a bit low for ball 1. Asturas a double in 3 trips. McClellan's 1-0 pitch to left field. Murphy had him played that way. Toward the line, David stops just short of the line, makes the grab. That is out number 2. And J.P. Arancibia coming up.
Yeah, most hitters won't have that same ball caught. That ball would have hit the chalk line down the left field line. The Rangers definitely favor him hitting toward left field. David was way around toward left field, right there to catch it.
Here's Arancibia, 0 for 3. Fly ball, ground ball, strikeout tonight. And first ball swinging. Beltre on across the diamond. Very quick work. 6 pitches for Kyle McClellan. The Blue Jays are gone. Rangers have one more shot to get back into this game. They trail 3-1. Of in-park entertainment is getting the crowd riled up as the Rangers are now going to face Casey Janssen in the 9th inning, and they trail by 2.
Well, Casey Janssen has had one blown save, and that was against the Rangers in Toronto. And I think he had a 2-run lead in that game in the 9th inning. Rangers hit him up for a couple of runs, so see if they can do it back-to-back times against the Blue Jays closer. John Gibbons has counted on Jansen, and Jansen has rewarded him. Jansen has been a pretty good closer for the Blue Jays over the last couple of years.
And Jansen, in the 9th inning of that 18-inning game, gave up the 2 runs to tie it. That tied it at 3, oddly enough. So if you believe in deja vu, we've got it all over again for you.
Since Jansen became the closer, he's been 35 out of 38 in save opportunities.
Lance Berkman, 1 out of 3 tonight. Chopper up the middle. Bonifacio stops, throws. That is out number 1. Now Adrian Beltre. Jansen, a 31-year-old Southern California product. First game up with the Blue Jays back in 2006. At that time, he was a starter. He went 6-10 with the Blue Jays. The next year, they converted him to a reliever, and he has been in the bullpen ever since. A ball and no strikes to Adrian Beltre. Beltre 1 for 3 tonight. One and one. Adrian taken all the way. See the numbers for Beltre against Jansen. Hammers this one down the left field line. It's hooking into the corner. It is foul.
A fairly hard hit ball. Smashed off the side of the wall, about 2 feet foul.
Holy cow. It wasn't high enough to get out of the ballpark, but it was going to move the wall back a couple of feet.
It got down the line in a hurry. A fast ball in, kind of like the one Bautista ripped down the line that just hooked foul. That's about a foot foul by the looks of it, and put a pretty good mark in the side of the wall. It's how hard he hit that wall.
There's your mark right there, so we can go over and measure it after the game, see how far foul it was.
Yeah, might have been 13 inches.
And Beltre lunging for a breaking ball, chops it foul, staying alive at 1-2. Adrian with a batting average of .301 as he faces Jansen. Bases empty, 1 out, bottom of the 9th inning. Rangers trailing 3-1 against the Blue Jays. Two balls and 2 strikes. Blue Jays this year have not given up a loss when they have been leading after 7. Beltre to center field. Rasmus going back. He's going to have room as he steps onto the warning track right in front of the 407 marker and puts it away for out number 2.
Adrian got underneath that a little bit. Otherwise, it wouldn't have mattered that it was hit to the deepest part of the ballpark. Got what looked like a hanging breaking ball. And just gets underneath it. Still hits it 405 feet to the deepest part of the ballpark. Just didn't quite get it.
Now here's A.J. Przinsky. Rangers down to their last out. And A.J. takes a strike from Jansen. Przinsky tonight 0 for 3. He has grounded out twice and flied to left field. Jansen's next pitch outside. Rangers trying to avoid their 3rd consecutive loss. They've had 3 in a row a couple of times this year, but never more than 3. They and the Cardinals and the Red Sox, the only teams in Major League Baseball to have not lost more than 3 consecutive ball games in the 2013 season. One and one the count. And it's 1-2 to Przinsky. Jansen always very fidgety on the mound. Chopper to the left side. It's cut off by Asturis. On across, and that will do it. So the Rangers go down to defeat tonight as the Blue Jays score 2 in the 8th inning, and they take a 3-1 victory to open up this 4-game weekend series. Rangers now have lost 3 consecutive ball games. They will try and bounce back tomorrow night. And with 1 home run hit in tonight's game, a total of $12,000 was raised for prostate cancer research. To make a donation, you can go online to homerunchallenge.org. Now 3-1 the final as the Blue Jays walk off with a victory here in Game 1. John Radigan and Mark McLemore back to wrap things up right after this on Fox Sports Southwest.